Welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive. I have to tell you, I walked into the studio today ready for, well, a battle. Usually when we open a file labeled Rassie Erasmus comments, we're strapping in for a roller coaster.
Oh, yeah. Some controversy, maybe a leaked video.
A list of grievances about a penalty count, something. But today, we're looking at something that honestly just blew my mind. We're looking at a Rassie Erasmus who is happy.
It's a bit of a plot twist, isn't it? I mean, we're so conditioned to the narrative of, coaches versus referees, especially involving the Springboks.
Absolutely.
But in this interview from Planet Rugby, he's not throwing stones. He's actually handing out bouquets. He's claiming that officiating, particularly in the scrum, is in a golden era right now.
A golden era. He literally said scrums are being refereed 10 times better. I mean, that is a massive statement.
Yeah, Judge.
But because it's Rassie, there's a very strategic layer just under the surface. It's not just good job, guys. It's more of a good job, now please don't ruin it warning.
Exactly. A warning shot for the 2027 World Cup. It's this fascinating mix of praise and a preemptive strike against future tinkering. So today we're going to unpack exactly why he thinks the scrums are suddenly working so well.
And who's behind it?
And who's behind it, yeah. And why Erasmus believes that making the game look cool with new laws might actually destroy the value of certain players.
That part about player value is deep. It's not just about winning games, it's about careers. So if you're the kind of fan who wants to understand the chess match happening in the boardroom as well as on the grass, you need to subscribe to Rugby Obsession right now. Seriously, just hit that button so you never miss a deep dive into the strategy of the game. All right, let's get into the weeds. Rassie Erasmus, scrums. 10 times better. What on earth is going on?
Well, to really appreciate this, you have to look at where we came from.
Right.
For the better part of a decade, the scrum has been, let's be honest, the problem child of rugby union.
Oh, totally. A mess.
It collapses, it eats up minutes on the clock, and for the casual viewer, and frankly for half the commentators, it just looks like a lottery.
I've sat there screaming, he slipped his bind, while the ref gives a penalty against the other guy. It's just been messy.
But Erasmus is pointing to the November 2025 internationals, specifically that absolute banger of a match against Ireland.
Or the games.
And saying the picture has cleared up. He specifically mentioned that the breakdown has been cleared out and the scrums are cleaned up.
And when a coach like Rassie says that, he means the officials are finally seeing the reality of the physics. They aren't guessing anymore.
And there is a very specific reason for this sudden clarity.
Okay, this is my favorite part of the story. The secret weapon isn't a new camera angle or some kind of AI. It's a person.
A person.
A Kiwi, no less.
Mike Cron, the scrum doctor.
It's a legend himself.
For those who might be new to the nuances of coaching trees, Mike Cron is basically the Yoda of the scrum.
Right.
He spent years with the All Blacks, engineering that dominant pack that terrorized the world for so long. But recently, he's been working with World Rugby, with the match officials.
And this is the irony that I just love. You have an all-black legend, a guy who spent his life plotting the downfall of the Springboks, now educating referees. And the result is that the Springboks, his old arch-rivals, are happier than they have been in years.
It sounds counterintuitive, I know, but it actually makes perfect sense when you break it down.
Okay, go on.
The Springboks' entire identity, their DNA, is built on scrum dominance. They select huge men. They prioritize the set piece. When you have a dominant scrum, your biggest enemy isn't the other pack.
It's the referee.
It's the referee, because if the ref can't see what's actually happening, the weaker team can just cheat their way out of it.
Right, they can bore in, drop a knee, all that stuff.
Precisely. All the quote-unquote dark arts to survive or, trick the ref into giving a penalty. If the official doesn't know what to look for, the dominant team often gets punished for being too strong.
But Mike Cron knows every trick in the book.
He probably invented half of them.
Huh. He's the poacher turned gamekeeper.
Exactly. He's teaching the officials, look at the elbow here, or watch the angle of the hips there. He's lifting the fog of war. And when that picture is clear, the team with the better technique and power, which, let's be honest, is often South Africa, gets the reward.
So Rassie is sitting there thinking, finally, we can just scrum and the best pack wins.
Oh.
It's less about bias and more about competence. The Mike Cron effect is raising the standard for everyone.
And that leads directly to his main point. The product is good. The game we saw in November was high quality. The scrums were contests, not reset fests. So his message to World Rugby is simple.
We fixed it. Don't break it again.
You got it.
Which, of course, brings us to the tension in the story.
Yeah.
Because in the world of rugby administration, leave it alone is rarely the strategy. There's always an itch to tinker.
Always.
And Erasmus is worried about a specific rumor regarding depowering the scrum. Now, to the average fan, depowering might sound safer, but Rassie hates it. What exactly are they proposing?
The proposal that's been floating around is to remove the hit.
The hit, the collision.
Yeah. Currently, the scrum engagement sequence ends with that huge collision. The two packs slam into each other. The idea for depowering is to move to pre-engagement.
So the front rows would already be touching shoulders before the ref says go.
Yes. They'd bind, they'd lean in, they'd touch, and then they push from a stationary start. No collision, no impact spike.
So it becomes more of a wrestling match instead of a battering ram.
That is a great way to put it. And Erasmus is dead set against this. He says, I hope that doesn't start to creep into the game, because if you take away the hit, you aren't just changing a rule, you're changing the physics of the sport.
You're changing the job description of the players.
Exactly. Right now, a prop needs explosive power to handle that initial shock. If you make it a pre-engaged push, you might prioritize endurance or maybe body height differently. You lose that combat element.
And this creates a really fascinating philosophical clash, right? On one side, you have Rassie wanting to protect the combat. On the other, you have the World Rugby chair, Brett Robinson, who's been very vocal about agility and speeding things up.
He has. Robinson wants to be able to tweak the game fast. He looks at the modern entertainment landscape and thinks, we need more ball and play time, fewer whistles.
And Rassie is saying, good, it should take long.
Right. Erasmus is arguing for that measure twice, cut once approach. He believes that if you rush a change to something as complex as a scrum, the unintended consequences can be, they can be disastrous.
It's a valid fear. We've seen law trials in the past that look good on paper and were just absolute disasters on the field. Before we move on, I just want to take a quick second to ask you, if you're enjoying this breakdown, if you like understanding the why behind the what, please hit that subscribe button for Rugby Obsession. It really helps us out and it keeps you in the loop.
So now let's look at the calendar, because this is where Erasmus really puts his strategist hat on. We're in January 2026. The World Cup in Australia is in 2027. That's roughly 18 months away.
Which sounds like a long time to me, but in rugby years, that's basically tomorrow.
It is. Erasmus calls this the danger zone for law changes. He's pleading for stability. And he brings up a point about the global calendar that I think a lot of Northern Hemisphere fans might miss.
The misalignment of the seasons.
Exactly. The Northern Hemisphere teams, England, France, Ireland, they're about to kick off the Six Nations. They have 5 high-intensity test matches right now. If World Rugby introduces a law trial now,
the Northern teams get a massive head start.
A massive head start, because the Southern Hemisphere teams, the Bucks, the All Blacks, they're on their summer break. They're not playing Test Rugby until July.
So England gets to trial these new rules in the heat of battle. They get to figure out the loopholes, the tactics. By the time the Springboks get together, they are, in Rassie's words, underdone.
They're months behind the learning curve. It's a built-in competitive disadvantage.
That's the fairness argument. But then there's the player value argument, which I think is maybe the most profound part of this whole interview. This is where he stops talking about winning and starts talking about the players' livelihoods.
Yeah, and he used Freddie Stewart as the example, the English fullback.
A perfect example.
He's a giant. He's, 6'5", he's heavy, he's strong. He is not a speedster. But if you kick a high ball into the stratosphere...
Stewart owns that airspace. He's a specialist. His value is in the air.
Right. And currently, the law supports that skill. We have what Erasmus calls the vacuum rule. When a player jumps for the ball, they have to be allowed to operate in a vacuum. No interference. But there's a lot of noise about bringing back the escort.
The escort, which sounds polite, but it's basically just blocking, right?
Yes, it's an offensive screen. It allows a teammate to run the line that blocks the chaser from getting to the catcher. If World Rugby brings that back, well, suddenly the catcher's protected. He doesn't need to be a 6'5" aerial gladiator.
So if you bring back blocking, you don't need a Freddie Stewart. You might as well just play a small, fast playmaker at fullback.
Exactly. And overnight, Freddie Stewart's value to the team just drops to 0. His primary superpower is made obsolete by a law tweak.
And Rassie is asking, is that fair? To do that to a player 18 months before a World Cup?
To say, actually, that skill you've mastered, it doesn't matter anymore.
That's a huge point. It's about the ecosystem of the sport. Erasmus seems to be arguing for diversity.
He is. He believes rugby is the game for all shapes and sizes. That's the old cliche, right? But it's true. You have a spot for the heavy prop, the tall lock, the short scrum half. If you depower the scrum, you might lose the heavy prop. If you allow blocking, you lose the tall, slower fullback.
You end up homogenizing the athletes. You just get 15 guys who are all fit and fast.
And then you lose the unique character of rugby union. He's pleading with the powers that be. Don't make changes just because they look cool. Think about if you are excluding entire categories of athletes from the sport.
It really resonates when you put it that way. And doing it 18 months out is the kicker. To do it now is just pulling the rug out.
It creates total instability. Teams build a squad profile over 4 years. They invest millions in scouting and development based on the current laws. To change the parameters now is just unprofessional.
Speaking of rules and professionalism, we have to touch on the TMO, the television match official. Erasmus touched on this too, and again, he wasn't ranting.
He was surprisingly balanced. We all complain about the TMO slowing the game down. But Erasmus asked the uncomfortable question, what's the alternative?
He said, would you want a spectacular game? And the TMO didn't get involved, but we are then on the wrong side.
That's the nightmare scenario. Imagine a World Cup semifinal. The winning try is scored off a forward pass the ref missed. If the TMO stays quiet for spectacle and you lose, the fallout would be nuclear.
So true. We say we want slow, but deep down, we demand justice.
Erasmus is just realistic. He'd rather endure the delay and get the right decision. But again, his main request is just clarity.
Clarity is the word of the day.
Whether it's the TMO protocols, the scrum, the aerial contest, he's just saying, tell us now. Don't wait until 2 months before the tournament. Give us 18 months to adapt.
It really feels like he's saying, the game is in a good place, the refs are doing better, the scrums are working, just let us play.
And I think that's a message that resonates with a lot of fans. We saw some great rugby in November. The balance felt right. Why risk breaking that momentum just to chase some theoretical perfection?
Especially when the fix is already in the building. Cron is there. It's actually a really positive story about collaboration improving the sport.
It really is. It shows there's a desire to make the game better, not just to win arguments.
So we've covered the Cron effect, the danger of depowering the scrum, the timeline issues, and the deep argument about player value. That's a lot of insight from one interview.
Rassie Erasmus doesn't really do small talk. Everything has a purpose.
Okay, so here is my question to you, the listener. Jump into the comments or hit us up on social media. Do you agree with Rassie? Is the game in a good place, and should we just leave the laws alone for now?
Or are you with Brett Robinson? Does the scrum need to be depowered to make the game faster?
Is the hit sacred, or is it time for it to go? I have a feeling the Springbok fans know exactly where they stand on that one. But we want to hear from everyone. We read every comment.
It's those debates that keep the obsession alive.
Absolutely. Listen, if you enjoyed this, if you like getting this level of detail without all the fluff, make sure you are subscribed to Rugby Obsession. We're going to be tracking all these law changes and rumors as we march toward 2027, and you do not want to be out of the loop.
Definitely not. It's going to be a very interesting 18 months.
Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive, and we'll look forward to you listening to our next episode.